What's up gamers, DreamcastGuy here, and I just got done watching the Ubisoft press conference and holy heck. Okay, so let me start off by just admitting, you guys know I've been really hard on Ubisoft in the past, mostly because a lot of their games feel a lot the same. If you're playing a first-person shooter or a third-person shooter or an online game and it's all made by Ubisoft, it's basically going to be identical. This year, it felt like their entire conference was built to prove people like me wrong. There was so much variety, starting with the incredible bombshell that we're going to be getting a tactical RPG with Mario and the Rabbids. Now, I'm sure we've all heard the rumors at this point, but it's here and it's real. The Rabbids, which are the tiny little weird rabbits from the Rayman games, have invaded the Mushroom Kingdom. Some are evil, some are good, but it's causing utter chaos across the land. So now, it's Mario's job to team up with the good Rabbids to try and defeat the evil Rabbids and hopefully not destroy everything in the process. The combat is so crazy cool. It's basically XCOM. Like, it's tactical strategy. So you literally have a certain amount of room you can run around. So you can when you choose move, you can see all the spots you can hide behind. If you go behind cover, it'll increase the chances that you'll be missed by an incoming attack and sometimes even extend your attack range. Something that was really cool though is that it looks like combo attacks is going to be the main thing that they want you to focus on. We see that there was a rabbit dressed as Luigi who gets in position next to a pipe, and then Mario comes up to attack an enemy, and both of them at once trigger their attack sequence. One jumps in the pipe, comes around, ninja kicks him, throws him up in the air, and then Mario shoots him. Later on, we see a segment where Luigi has like a power blaster that knocks stuff up in the air, and Mario's backing him up with like a freeze blaster, and they both get into attack range, and they're able to actually juggle a foe for tons of extra damage. This looks so cool, but I kind of wish we saw a little bit more about the exploration. From what we saw, it looked like they were following, I guess, like a Roomba. There was like a little flat disc with rabbit ears walking along, and I'm assuming that they're following that, and that's how we control all three of our party members at once. It's cool, it's great, it's going to be a Nintendo Switch exclusive, and I'm dying to see more. This is a project that's been secretly in development for a while, and it really shows. It's so cool looking, and I really want to play it just to see if it's great or just strange. Next, they just pushed us through a bunch of shorter announcements like a South Park cell phone game, Just Dance 2018, and Assassin's Creed Origins, which for some reason was a very short segment. It was about 2 minutes. They showed one new trailer, kind of letting us see the environment, and then they moved on. So I guess that they're planning on highlighting that at other showcases, or maybe they just plan on having a big in-depth show floor demo, but it was kind of weird that they didn't go a little bit deeper into that. There was actually a little bit more about South Park the Fractured But Whole. This RPG obviously is coming this year, and we're excited for it. It's a day one buy for me, but we're finally seeing a little bit more about the story, about our custom character getting caught in this civil war of silly superheroes. Each of the kids has now given themselves secret powers so that they can become like the master of tools or have telekinesis if you're Timmy. This looks really funny, and they dropped about 15 F-bombs to explain how funny it is. I'm definitely going to play it. I just want it to come out. I've been looking at this for so many E3s at this point. I just want it in my hands. Stick of Truth is great. This looks like it's going to be even better. Speaking of bigger and better, Far Cry 5. Holy heck. Now, we knew that it was going to be taking place in America, but it looks like it is a very corrupted, screwed up version of America. We're in Montana, but it's a town that's been taken over by psychopathic cultists. To make sure no one can get away, they've blocked off the roads, they've cut down all the cell phone towers, so you can't call for help. Nobody even knows anything's wrong, because this is just such a tiny, secluded town. The only way that you're going to be able to save these people is by running and gunning every single bad guy down yourself. But you're not alone this time. In previous Far Cry games, multiplayer was possible, but it was kind of just a side option. In fact, in Far Cry 4, when you turned on multiplayer, you couldn't do any of the main missions. This time, it looks like the main focus is actually co-op, which, I mean, that totally caught me off guard. We see them actually putting people on top of like a water tower to snipe people while a guy is sneaking around inside a damaged bus and trying to shoot some people and save civilians. We see someone flying in a giant plane over a field while someone else is driving some farming equipment to chop up crazy cultist hillbillies. That is such a cool change, and I'm glad they're doing it, because let's face it, Far Cry has been in so many nice, cool, exotic locations. To make things feel different and new, you needed to try and change the course, and I think this will do that. Speaking of planes and driving around with your buddies, we're getting at the crew too. Now, the first crew was great, but from what I heard, it sold really badly, so it's a little bit shocking that we're getting a follow-up. I'm excited about it. I'm definitely going to play it. I'm one of the few people that really, really like the first crew, but I'll be honest, I didn't play any of the DLC. I only played it for like a month, and I liked it for that month, but it looks like the biggest change that they're making to this sequel is it's now going to have the ability to race on boats, the ability to fly planes. Really, it seems like their motto is, go anywhere, race anything. In fact, it looks like we're getting to actually race on race tracks and streets all around the world. One of the ways they displayed this, and I thought it was really cool, was they actually had people like racing around on this track, and it's a really, really tight course, and it shows this guy and he's pulling into the lead, and then they drift too wide around a corner and they bust through a fence, and then they just start racing down civilian streets in these supercars with like 800 horsepower. That is what I'm hoping we really get. I'm hoping that it's just like a racing game that is pure insanity. It doesn't worry about any form of realism or making sense. It's just about you, the road, and getting some cool gear. Real quick, I want to talk about the two things I didn't like about this press conference. Number one was a game called like Starlink Atlas. Oh my god, this looked awful. Seriously, it looks like you're going to be actually buying real toys that have like a microchip in them, and then you build the toys, and then you put the toy in the game. So it's like Skylanders, except each individual piece of armor is a separate transaction you're going to be buying in real life. You're doing this to combine them together to build a starship so you can fly around and battle people. And unfortunately, it has an art style just like No Man's Sky. It is like identical. Honestly, I want to call this game No Amiibo Sky. I'm not going to play that. Oh my gosh, this looks awful. Ubisoft, why are you doing this? The other thing that they kept doing this conference that I didn't really care for is they actually mentioned pre-orders a couple times. You're showing us new games. You don't have to tell us to pre-order. If it's a good game, it speaks for itself. Speaking of good games, though, there were two things that were actually super, super awesome. The first one was called Skull and Bones. I guess if I had to really break it down, it kind of looks like For Honor meets Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. In this, you're pirates on ships competing for treasure. They showed us an in-depth look at a 5v5 match where people are trying to compete to get treasure around this cove. People are trying to worry about the range of their cannons, the armor of their ship, and defending their friends. You're also having to keep track of the wind, because, let's face it, this is a time period where there's no locomotion. You have to keep steering as best you can, and if you end up on the wrong side of the tide, well, you could be absolutely screwed. They were really, really trying to emphasize the fact that different ships had different strengths. If you equip a bunch of stuff that makes it where you can tear apart masts, that's great for that, but you're going to be costing yourself something better. You'll make it where you don't have forward-facing cannons, or you have left defenses in the back of your ship. I like that, but more than that, I actually liked that in the cutscene they showed how evil pirates are. I think we have this bad habit of thinking of pirates as these free-loving people who just wanted to go on ships and avoid governments. No, these people were freaking monsters. They sailed around killing people randomly. In this trailer, we see them just sailing up on random people just like, oh, what a lovely day to not get murdered. And then they murder them. It was so crazy. I like that. I like that we're seeing some really evil pirates. I'm hoping that this isn't, like, my two big hopes for this is, I hope it's not multiplayer only, I hope it actually has a story, and I hope that it has some depth to it. I'm kind of afraid of this being For Honor on the sea. What they closed out this conference with was the biggest stunner of all. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is real. It is a reality. It is deep into development. We saw a very extended teaser that showed all sorts of stuff about this new crew of people. They said that this is going to be taking place way before the first game, long before Jade was ever born, in a far-off galaxy. So it looks like it's going to be very different. In fact, I kind of got a Guardians of the Galaxy vibe. They said that this ragtag bunch of characters are getting together to try and fight off this evil government. Some sort of intergalactic police have literally just taken over an entire star system. So teaming up with this monkey that has a robotic arm and this chick with an awesome fro and a jet ski that flies through the air, we're going to be going on separate missions to collect data and try and undermine them. We didn't see any gameplay, so I have no idea how puzzle focused this is going to be, if it's going to be a platformer, if it's going to be a third-person shooter. We really have no idea. But the fact that this is even real is just, it's just incredible. And what was really touching is the developer came out there and you could tell he was about to cry, because Ubisoft really, it's so cool that Ubisoft did this. Ubisoft, they really try and get the most bang for their buck. When they try and come out with a game, they want to milk it and milk it and milk it with 15 season passes and 18 character skins. Beyond Good and Evil 2 isn't a project they can do that with. This is a one and done adventure, but they're paying to develop it because they know that we, the fans, really want to play it. So I have to respect that they did that. Okay, now it's time to put a rating on this before I start bawling my eyes out. I am going to give this conference an A-. It could have been a little bit better, and it certainly dragged at points, but overall, that was a spectacular show. Way to go, Ubisoft. This is what people want. Keep being this company, please, please God. Okay guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, share with your friends, and subscribe if it's your first time watching. You can also click all these buttons around my face to see all my other E3 videos. Now, I gotta go drink a Red Bull because the Sony conference is starting in a minute, and my hype is overwhelming.